And joining us to talk about the war between Israel and Hamas, as well as the rising tension in the Middle East, is Kunle Follower, global affairs analyst. It's good to have you on at this time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Jordan for talks with Arab leaders and some ministers. Now, Blinken will also be holding discussions with foreign ministers over the war between Israel and Hamas. Now, Israel has come out with a categorical statement that until all hostages are released, there is no ceasefire. Do you think Blinken can convince the Arab leaders to convince Hamas, fighters, to meet this demand?
So absolutely, this diplomatic discussions are ongoing, and it's what we need. It's really necessary at this point of the war. We have to realize that for a lot of Gazans and Palestinians, they're the ones that are being affected the most by this huge bombardment coming from the Israeli forces. Antony Blinken has said it well, right? And he tries to work in a very fine line. Let's not forget that the U.S. Congress are in full support. The United States government generally in full support of the Israeli state being able to defend itself and defend its territorial integrity against invaders or militant group. But nonetheless, civilian casualties in Gaza is a terrible thing, and we're seeing that innocent people are dying needlessly because the militant group is situated itself right in between civilians, and that's very hard to identify who the civilians are and who the militants are, because they're all ingrained in the same society, and that's becoming very problematic for the Israeli military force. But nonetheless, a ceasefire is essential at this point, because humanitarian materials needs to go in, and people need to be saved. People need, Gazans generally, they need all the help that they can get currently. So, like I said earlier, Antony Blinken has to walk a very fine line to appease the Israeli side and also the stakeholders in the Middle East.
Now, as things stand, U.S. is unambiguous on its stand on the matter by supporting Israel. Can this visit yield any result towards peace?
It's an ongoing process. There's no guarantee, but the terrible thing for world leaders to have done is to sit back and just watch things happen. That would potentially escalate to more international crisis and a full-blown war in the Middle East against Israel. And that, we don't want that to happen, because that will be a trickle-down effect, and the world order will be greatly affected. And that's why the United States is playing a pivotal role in mediating between the Middle Eastern side and the people of Israel generally. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister, has a huge stake. Let's not forget that he, as an individual, as a politician, as he is, did struggle politically with the people of Israel, because there's so many divergent views about his governing antics and power generally, and it's a defining moment for him politically, because this will determine if he continues to stay in power or not. But nonetheless, I will personally commend Antony Blinken and the United States government for making that step, trying to mitigate and looking for ways to appease the Middle Eastern side and Israeli to have a ceasefire so humanitarian goods can go into the people of Gaza who need the help currently.
Now, let me ask you this. If you were in Blinken's position, what would you be telling these leaders to achieve? Perhaps a temporary resolution would do.
Like I said before, Antony Blinken has a very tough responsibility, which is trying to appease both sides. And the temperament is really hot right now. The Jordanian side, the Hezbollahs, and all this folks that are in support of the plights of the people of Gaza, and then, like I said, working a fine line between that side and the opposing side of the Israeli. Let's not forget some of those propositions that have been put forward by Blinken is an independent Gaza state, or Gaza independent, independently run country, and those are long-term solutions to the crisis. Let's not forget that the crisis in Gaza has been happening way before now. Now, this insurgency and this war just exacerbated what's been happening over there. So it's been a systematic war, a systematic conflict going on between Gazans and Palestinians and the people of Israelis. So it's an understatement to say that there's cordiality between them. That hasn't been happening in a very long time. So now it's the right time to find a final and a lasting solution to that crisis in that region.
All right, we may have to leave it there for now. Global affairs analyst Kunle Fallow sharing his thoughts with us on the war between Israel and Hamas, and of course the rising tension in the Middle East. Thanks indeed for sharing your thoughts with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.